Hello and welcome to this new video. In this one we are going to see different IoT applications. As we have seen in previous video, we have seen many possibilities and many definitions relating to IoT. As we have seen in other videos, IoT we can consider IoT as an internet evolution in which we are going to deploy our devices and we are going to connect all of them in order to interact different data. If we think about this definition, we can try to do a brainstorming and we are going to be able to define many applications of these technologies nowadays. For instance, related to transport and logistics, we have many applications of it. As we have seen in previous video, RFID is one technology created by the United States Defense Department, and it was implemented in 2002. It was detailed and it was implemented in order to get real-time data regarding to transport and logistics. So it could be a good example of how IoT was implemented as the first time. Also, we have implementations in the healthcare sector, in smart environments, and of course in the social media. When we are posting our thoughts in one social media and we are retrieving that information in real time, we are using IoT and IoT devices. We are going to see later some examples about that. And of course, in future developments that are being currently developed, for instance, the autonomous vehicle. So there are many applications as we can find IoT systems in many sectors. One thing to talk about is important to know that there are many protocols. What are the protocols? Protocols are the things or the management of the data that different devices are going to interact. For instance, let's imagine that we have in this slide two examples. One IoT system related to social media and one IoT system related to an autonomous vehicle. So, do we need the same thing for both projects? Of course not. For instance, related to social media, what we really need is the reliability of the data. We really need to provide accessibility to millions of devices to one, for instance, database or for one data. So here the most important is the quantity of devices. However, in the other examples related to autonomous vehicle, the real important thing is the speed of the data. It's quite important to provide to the artificial intelligence algorithms of the car, provide as soon as possible the data related to the next curve, to the next wall, and so on. So we have different possibilities and different ways to manage the data. How we are going to do that? With internet protocols and with different IoT protocols. This is an example of IoT schema. More of them we are going to see now that there are many schemas or many types of systems related to IoT, but quite common standard is this one. In the first part, we have the IoT devices. What are the IoT devices? Those devices that are collecting the data and sending the data. So, for instance, for this schema, let's imagine that I am a factory manager and I want to take real time related to temperature, humidity, and fabrication processes. So I am going to deploy in my factory different devices. Those are the IoT devices. Later, the IoT devices, they are going to send or to trigger the data to different databases. Normally, they are hosted on cloud servers. That's why in this MOOC, you will have another module related to this concept, the importance of the cloud computing. So normally, the IoT devices send the information to cloud databases, and me, as a factory manager, I want to see the data through a device, through my mobile, through my personal computer, and so on. So in that way, or in that part, is where we can find the IoT cloud platforms. This is an example of a small IoT system, but seeing the devices, not only the schema, also the reality of the process. Here, in this example, we need to take real-time information about energy and about, for instance, temperature. Those elements that we can see in the slide, the energy meter and the IoT device, in this regard, the IoT device is developed under an Arduino, a simple motherboard, or we can use another motherboards like Raspberries. So we are getting the information and sending through the IoT network. Where we are going to send? We are going to send in different platforms or in different databases. In this regard, they are using WireShark. WireShark is a platform in which you can connect your devices, but you can send the data whenever you want. You can send to an SQL or to another databases. In this regard, they are using WireShark, and later, as a, for instance, infrastructure manager, I want to see the data, not only the raw data that I am seeing in WireShark. I want to see the data, for instance, in graphs or in a better way of visualization. So I am seeing the data through, for instance, a mobile application, a front end. So I could access through internet to the front end through a mobile device or through a personal computer, through a tablet, through any device that can have an internet connection. Of course, not all the IoT systems has a front end. For instance, it's quite common to see into the sector related to the SHM, structural health monitoring, that in this regard, these researchers are taking the data related to infrastructure properties, structure properties. For instance, in this regard, they are not taking temperature or humidity. They are taking or they are implementing accelerometers in order to get the acceleration and to get different properties of the infrastructure. They are sending to a database and they are sending to the front end. No, they are just saving the data into SD cards. So is this an IoT system? Yes, but not compulsory they need to implement a front end. This is another example of an IoT system. Another example of an IoT system plus another technology is IoT with artificial intelligence. In this regard, what do we have? This is a quite common example related to irrigation systems. So in this regard, they are installing sensors relating to temperature, humidity, rain detection, and they are saving the information on cloud databases. They are triggering or sending the information through, for instance, Arduino databases, motherboards, and they are sending to databases hosted in public spaces. For instance, MongoDB is a good tool in order to save the data. And now in this example, they are not only providing the information to see later in a front end, they are using the data that was taken in real time to train different artificial intelligence agents, or for instance, artificial intelligence deep neural networks. So in this regard, they can analyze the data and they can train the artificial intelligence to provide future behaviors of the IoT devices. So this is a quite interesting research line in which we are using both technologies, IoT and artificial intelligence. So those are the references that I have used for this video. That's all from my side. Thank you very much for your attention. Just to let you know that this MOOC and this video is part of the project Digital Twin Infrastructure and Cities. You can find more information in the QR and into the link. Thank you very much.